Hey, what's up, everybody? Jackson here, the First Class Business, thebeerbestshow.com, and visionproslive.com. Super excited about the power launch. We've launched our freemium offer, and this is our forecast for that offer and the advertising campaign that we got going on. We will see if we can pull it all together as a team. So this is the power launch program. Todd and I had been building this, for like the last. Well, he was with me to help start it back 4 years ago when we started First Class Business, but I've been building Power Launch as a system for almost 14 years. And so now to have it come to fruition where I can give it away for free, allow people to come in and ultimately find the entrepreneurs who come through that and say which ones really want to work with us, which ones are super excited to honor everything that we built out and that want a super awesome team. So let's dive in and take a look at the premature metrics. This is like cardinal sin, by the way, for advertising. You're not supposed to look. You're not supposed to like track it. But I want to see. Like I've been trying to bring this together for a very long time. So I'm gonna go over here to the advertising campaign, and I mean, feel free to let us know what do you think about the metrics. We're looking specifically at this top row here. So I'm gonna refresh that. And we're going to refresh it so that we can see the latest update, right? It's at $17.80. It's probably going to be at $18 by the refresh. But again, like this is like what it's all about. This is why we launched this thing. So I noticed that our cost per click is around 80 cents, 50 cents, somewhere in there. Where'd it go? Okay, 19 bucks. Cool. So it's less than 60 cents cost per click. Let's go ahead and take a look at some different aspects on here. And guys, marketing is one of those things that, and normally I don't talk to ChatGPT so abrasively, but I just wanted to kind of get the thing spinning and get some output. And the hard part about links like this and sites and they come from, I'm going to pick on this guy down here, Robin. I don't know where he's at, but I saw it on here and I was like, okay, he's got a neat story of a 0.048 cent cost per click, and I do actually believe him because it's in the restaurant industry and they probably ran like a free promo or something, but it's still very unverifiable information. And the story is so shoddy. They don't show like what type of ad they used. They don't tell you anything about the creative, and so it didn't create the type of transparency, the type of trust that I wish our industry would hold ourselves accountable for. So take a look at this. So the average Facebook ad CPC by industry, right? $2.52 for digital marketing B2B, $2.48 for business and industrial, and the overall across all industries is $1.72. And again, that's the average. So I'm not going to get you overhyped on this, but I am very interested in that rate, right? And so we haven't had, that might have been a conversion actually, that notification. I don't know. I'm not trying to count that. What I am trying to make sure happens though is that we stay honest and true to ourselves on what we're doing. So this, if I want to really track this granularly, right, I can drop that down to $19. And so $19, am I supposed to make anything? No, I'm not. And ideally, we would have some leads convert at this point. I don't know if we have yet, but we won't track that today. What we're going to do is look at this and say, okay, if my cost per click is $1.50, then I need to just reverse engineer this. And yes, I need a different calculator to really do this the right way, but we're getting a little bit more than that's a little bit too much, 1 cent cost per click. And I'm really happy about that because my projection with the investor who is backing the advertising campaign, we set this at a 3 cent cost per click. And if the ads are just starting, then in all likelihood, as the algorithm continues to settle in and continues to reward us, as the campaign continues to drive likes and comments and shares, that will actually drive the cost per view down, theoretically. Everything's a theory until it actually happens. So click-through rate. On the click-through rate, we can go over here, back to the advertising campaign. Let's take a look. The click-through rate depends on which one you want to base it on. Now, for me, I'm not really excited about the click-through rate on this one. The advertising copy, we rushed it. The advertising design, we rushed our design team on the design aspects. Let's go look though. I bet, again, I want to be as transparent as possible. I want everybody to see what's going on, what we have here. So I don't want to hate on my design team either. You guys can, but it's, it's not good leadership. I think it's great. Like, I think this ad, I'm grateful for it, and the wording came out the right way. The challenge with people who speak foreign languages, and most of our team does, is they miss out on opportunities to recognize like what words go with which, and that I wish that wasn't the advertising thumbnail. I'm sure we can upgrade that, but this one right here, for instance, unlock your potential should be together, and as a leader should be together. And there's a whole lot going on here, and I know you can't see it on your screens. I guess I'll expand for you. Just expand on the whole view. I wanted to just expand the one, but it does have some context. If you look really closely, if you're looking on your phone, you would be able to see that easier. But it's not ultra convincing for me. It's not my favorite design. There's a lot going on. It's a little bit too much mayhem for what it is we're striving to drive for entrepreneurs. Oh, let me go back. I didn't show you the last one. And then the last one, I don't like to see ads with myself in them. But there I am being a goofball, pointing out to the try for free, back when I had much longer hair, obviously. So now let's, again, go back to what types of results we're looking at. So we can see that this particular campaign, the one that has the crazy image, has the greatest click-through rate. That's weird. Right, but again, we're not basing off of very much information. There's still only how much spent per campaign. So you got $1. Nope, that's wrong. Where's my full amount? There we go. So $4 spent here, $4 spent here, $8 spent here, and $2 here. Right, so it's still, again, there's not enough to really know what's going on, and we didn't tie this to the conversion results beyond the clicks. Like, we're not teaching Facebook how many registrants we're getting, and that would also probably help with the optimization of the campaign. So Devin and I will look at talking about that tomorrow. But again, I want to stay at the early stage here and look at, all right, let's just reverse engineer our results. So I'm going to go back to overall for now. I'm not going to get too granular on it, and our click-through rate is either a 0.78 or a 0.64, depending on which one you want to count. All being, clicking on, I guess, any part of the ad to take you to any part of our campaign, and the true click-through rate being the one that talks about moving to the actual landing page and saying, hey, I want to see what this is about. So 0.64, that's not good. That's a really, really bad click-through rate for us. So 0.64, hopefully we see a tide turn. But the other thing that we can do to make sure that we improve on our cost per click, is make sure that we on our click-through rate rather, is to make sure that we update the ad and say, okay, let's get a better image on here so that we don't fall that short in terms of the percent click-through rate. All right, so as I was saying, we've got our cost per view now set at the view rate that we're getting, and we've got our click-through rate set at the, let's call it abysmally low click-through rate that I don't want. I would much rather have a much higher click-through rate, and there's things we can do to potentially test the images to where we highlight the fact that this is a freemium offer. We could do the same thing with the copy on the ad too, is really highlight the fact this is free. You got to give this a try. We're trying to let the messaging ride for itself. Let's see here. And one of the things I want to think through and highlight on this is, let's take a look and see, okay, if we, as soon as we get to the $1,500 spent, right, what would our return look like still in this scenario? $105,614. All right, so what do we do, right? We just keep going strong. That's the first thing that we do. Even though we're way under the metric on the click-through rate, we go strong. We see that this can be in our favor. These metrics right here, and how do we hit these metrics? Well, we have to make sure that we optimize as we go. But if we get this type of click-through rate and we spend $1,500, we're going to have 136,000 entrepreneurs see our brand. And we're going to have 873 total clicks, and we'd have 175 new users sign up for the system if this is our lead conversion rate. But if that's not our lead conversion rate, right, if our lead conversion rate turns out to be absolutely abysmal, then interesting, right, we'd still have $9,000 return. How does that work? Well, it's about making sure that you're aware of all the different offers that you have baked into this. So if we have 17 conversions, we're betting on a few different factors. One, that out of the 17 who convert, we will have the ability to call these individuals because they're submitting their phone number to do so. And we're going to, when we call them, we're going to be talking to them about whether they want support and service from us or not. And our pay what you want business model accounts for a few different types of transactions. Because it's pay what you want, if they want the types of I don't want to say guaranteed results, but if they want to make sure that they're fully invested in what they're doing and they're true business owners who understand the value of like, okay, you can't have a true scope of work and an operations and marketing initiative without providing a budget, then they're, then we're going to be talking to them about the opportunity to invest $50,000 up front. On the other side, and they can still do any budget where they're, ballpark 150,000 down to 20,000. But most people are going to come in around a budget of somewhere between $1 and $1,000. Most people in the business world don't like to spend on their businesses. They don't like to invest, and you wonder why they, 96% fail within 10 years. That's a big part of it, is they don't want to take true expense opportunities. They would rather gamble with smaller systems that cost, $10 or $200 or $500 per month, and keep those systems even though they don't know how to use the systems. And they don't know how to set them up, and they have to hire somebody cheap on Upwork or Fiverr, but they continue to nickel and dime themselves. They end up spending more than $50,000, and they end up working with a whole bunch of people who don't know what they're doing and don't know how to help each other. Not a good formula. So what we have to do as a team in order to get the types of results that we really want to get, which is not this, we have to make sure that, okay, let's say only 1% converts here. Let's say on this one, only 5% converts here. And only 30% is converting here. Well, if we're paying attention long before we get to 1,500, then it's helping us see that, okay, well, wait a second. What if we're wrong about the 17? Right? What if we only get a hold of 30% of them? Well, that dramatically affects the amount of revenue return that we have. But if we're paying attention to the advertising campaign over here, and we're saying, okay, well, wait a second. We get the video onto the landing page. I tried to do that today. I wasn't able to successfully since it uploaded to YouTube as a short. It wouldn't embed on the GoHello backend, and so I was like, that's frustrating. So tomorrow, Andres will have a new video in place. And again, this is still all theory, but we should have a 20% lead conversion rate at least on a free offer. And so let's say that this went up to 10%. Well, bam, right? That right there is the key metric to lean on, and this right here are two key metrics to lean on, because if we increase the value of the amount of people that we convert from 17 to 5, we're only affecting a grand total of 12 people. But if we focus on, so let's do that. Let's say I get a 60% conversion rate on that, right? That still moves forward the bottom line by how much? By triple. But, I'm not moving forward the greater opportunity where I could get far more people to come in. So let's do this. Let's go back to what happens if we go from an abysmal 0.64% to a 2%, right? And that's basically tripling the click-through rate, but it's still a very reasonable click-through rate. Well, that puts our campaign to where we earn far more, but not only do we earn far more, it's not just about the fact that, and we didn't convert more, we have more of a percentage, but we had that many more people trust in our brand, right? That's instead of 800 people going and seeing what we're doing, we inspired 2,700 people to come and see what we're doing, right? And then because they came and saw it, well, only 55 converted, that would be abysmal. We got to make that page super attractive so that we can convert more of those individuals. And again, the lead conversion rate on that page should be way more than 20%. It should be close to 80% on this process, because they're going to see what is being offered, and then they have an opportunity right there to say, you know what, I'm going to try this out. They're not wasting their time. They're not going to that landing page because they're curious and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go spend my time on this. Now, if they were curious, they'd be on TikTok. They'd be on ESPN. So in all likelihood, this is not going to be lower than 20%. And again, watch what happens with that. Boom. We now spent $1,500 in this advertising campaign, and we're looking at 149. Why? Because 545. And in these abysmal scenarios, we're saying that only if you're trickling through. And it's not about understanding how the math breaks down in this process, because again, the entrepreneurs are going to have conversations with me and my team, and our sales process is where we talk to them about how to invest responsibly. We're looking for the ones who are going to say, yeah, no, we're ready to go. We do this for $5,000 a month, for a year-long contract, or let's do the $50,000 thing. Let's get going. We know that we want you guys at our next trade show. We want to set up trade show booths. We want to be able to do this, that, and the other. Well, they're talking to us so we can do that. In fact, I'll show you the power scope of work. The reason why it's so complicated to work with us is because business is so complicated. Like, welcome to business. You've got research and development, you got marketing, you got operations, you got fulfillment. All this stuff that gets planned out, business owners act like they've done it. None of them have. And in addition to that, they act like it doesn't have to get done. I just want a CRM set up. I just want LinkedIn driving leads to me so that I can sit on the beach all day. That's not how business works. And that's why we actually built this scope of work out, because the scope of work entails making sure your HR processes are in place, your PR media coverage is in place, your Facebook ads, your YouTube ads. Don't get me wrong. There's things on there that we do not have to launch. But when I'm building a bridge, if I'm going to build a bridge for people to cross, I'm not going to look at it and say, what's the least amount of effort we can put into this and the shoddiest bridge we can create in order to get enough people to just cross it and hope that we win. Like that's again the problem with why business owners are losing, is they're not truly fully investing in themselves and their infrastructure and their team and taking care of their people. If they did, then the estimated cost of doing business would be absolutely astronomical. And these may look inflated to you. They're not. They're very real numbers, right? How much will a design department cost you to run per month? Well, unless you're using Design Pickle, which is only going to solve one tiny piece, and I've used Design Pickle and I've used Pingy, and they're good systems, they're not great systems, and I've got far, far, far more affordable options thanks to Central and South America. So I'm not downing them, but I'm saying that's one tiny piece of the equation. And yeah, you can pay about $300 a month for their low tier service and be extremely limited if that's something that you might need, but you probably don't in your brand. Then there's Facebook ads department, right? If you're going to have somebody run your Facebook ads, you're going to pay a monthly management fee for them to run. And if you're using something like Ad Espresso, you're going to get something low, like $300. But if you're working with somebody, you're going to pay a lot more than that. And the same is true with scaling the Facebook ads and maintaining the copy for them and the optimizations. And so I know some of you might think this stuff like, well, that really overlaps. Again, at the end of the day, even if you were to cut this down and say you were the not say the stingiest, but the most frugal, wisest, yet still balanced individual in this process, cut it all the way down to a third of what it is. That's still $50,000 in monthly costs. Okay? So, and then you also have to factor in all the time that you put into that. How many hours are you going to put in versus your team putting into it? That's a lot of investment in what you're doing. And it could be far easier and simpler than that. So let's go back over to the ladder and see what else we might want to talk about in relation to this campaign rolling out. So one, I'm going to go back to the $19 spent. It could be fun to go back and refresh in just a minute, but again, we know that we're at the 0.64 cent click-through rate. And let's also take a look. See if there's a user uptick. Oh yeah, I gotta get that fixed too. Alright, so I don't know how real time this is, but no. Apparently there's not somebody who has upgraded yet. So that gives us the opportunity to go back and look here and say, okay, so then what's happening? When somebody clicks try for free, take a look. What does happen? This page takes a little bit to load. Took a lot of it that time. I don't know if that's holding people back. I have a feeling this video might be getting views, so we might check into that. It's not the conversion that we want, but
all right. I want to welcome you to the Power Launch, and I want this video in particular to be a little bit raw, a little bit real, and quite a bit imperfect. Why? Because
right. So one of the things that might be heard in this video is that it does say 2022, and so that's a very small factor that might hurt some people. And yes, it's raw and real. So people might be turned off by that reality. Then they go and register right here. And if I click that, it's not going to work on my screen because I'm already logged in as an admin. But that will then take them to the registration page. And the registration page requires them to put in their phone number. That could be something that's also going to be a big impact on driving people to want to register. So let's go back and take a look. And before we make any adjustments, we just think through those realities and say, okay, if that's the case, if when people register, and let's go ahead and update this one more time. Right, so we've got it. We know that this campaign has already spent 19. We just saw that nobody else has signed up unless there's some type of delay there. And let's see what the new budget is. Again, this is obsessive. I'm really doing this for training purposes. Look at that. The cost per result's gone down to 50 cents on it, so that's interesting. And it spent 23.22. So we're going to go as fast as Facebook will allow me, which is not very fast. Alright, so while that's loading, I'm going to go back over here. What did I mess up on? Oh yeah, the cost per click, I think it was. Let's go back. Alright, so our click-through rate is now up to 0.76. Alright, so it's up to 0.76. Come on, man, why are you so slow? 23.22, that's what I want. And 7.6. I've got a bad memory too for things like this. I know it's only temporary, so. Alright, we're just going to put that in. I think that was what it was. Alright, so here we are. And so now with these metrics, we've got, what was the cost that I saw over there? Cost per click of 50 cents? Now I'm getting confused. Okay, cool. So it's getting a major uptick in exposure in that regard, because earlier that didn't lead to 5,000. Like there wasn't moving that much of the reach. But now if we go back over here, that means we got to lower that cost even further, cost per view. So we're actually getting what I was really hoping I didn't think we would get. Oh my goodness. Yep, we're going Holy Grail territory here on the view stuff. Woo! Oh, it's exciting. So let's go back the other way. There we go. And if we want to get even more granular, so we're getting what number is that? As far as cost per view, that's absolutely massive. And so click-through rate at 76. That puts us right about where we. And in fact, it doesn't make it a little bit lower than that. Put it right there. Yep, there we are. Whatever that number is, that's the cost per view that we're hitting right now, which puts our cost per click at 50 cents. And we're not getting the 20% lead conversion rate. In fact, we're not getting a 10% lead conversion rate. We're not getting a conversion at all. So what we want to do, if I want to really showcase that and track that, 1% would be alright. So let's get more granular on this one. That way it's also easier to see and know that, okay, right now we're getting less than a 2% conversion rate on the website, and that's only based on 45 clicks. So you typically don't want to evaluate this until you have at least 300 clicks, because you don't really have enough knowledge. Like, did the pages load? You're getting the right people there. Like I said, they've got videos to click and watch. That doesn't mean they're done yet. They may be watching that video. Let's go back and see the video. Right, so the video is a 6-minute video. That's not too bad. But you know what? I think I will reward us all. Let's go ahead and go to this page, but go to it through incognito. And that way we can see, okay, if somebody's come here, oh man, that's something that happens to me because it's got me like pseudo signed in. And that is so weird. Well, it's good to catch it, because you know what? I wonder if anybody who goes to the page that way ends up with that experience. I had that happen on my mobile device, and it didn't happen to one of my team members. But hopefully not everybody's getting that experience. That would suck. So and that's, again, why it's not a bad idea to check and see what else is going on. But let's go to try for free again. Why would that happen on an incognito window? Just to disrupt my video, probably. Alright, so we're back to it. Trying one more time. Yeah, for some reason. Oh, I know why. So yeah, somehow it has me logged in across incognito windows, and that's scary because it's like I thought the whole point of an incognito browser was so that it doesn't catch each other. Alright, so now we're going to click on it. There we go. Okay, so they're clicking on it, they're getting here, and then they've got the ability to sign in and sign up. If some bozo clicks on sign in, they're going to get lost. If somebody clicks on our logo up here, they're going to come back to the academy and they're going to be consuming this content. Checking out what else we have on here. And if they go to programs at that point, that'll take them to log in. And so I want to fix that. I want to get that to take them back. It shouldn't even take them straight to, it should take them to the program page without forcing a logged in. So that'll be an optimization that's important. All these little things are going to make the process that much more smooth for the user experience. So let's see what happens if they try to click and go straight to the course. Well, in that case, it takes them to the login, and it says or sign up to get started. And so we might make an optimization on that in order to force this window to be the one that they see. Now I wish we could put this in a better order, and that's another big optimization that's going to happen. They don't know anything about the Academy of First Class Business, and so we put a ticket in with LearnWorlds, who's our provider for our learning management software, because you can't change this darn title. They had to custom design that, which is silly. And I'm hoping that they'll put the First Class Business logo on it, because that's one element that's kind of missing on here. And then my team is going to add other logos in over here related to the Power Launch and our other brands. And so let's switch gears a little bit and see where we're drawing inspiration from on that. This is our preferred vendor program to help vendors get started with us, and to, if they want to, if they're trying to sell my clients or they're trying to sell me, we get them forwarded over here so they can see that there's a process for working with us. But you can notice all these little logo enhancements where it's like, okay, it shows that Home Studio Mastery, shout out to Junaid, Triumph Communications with Sue Anderson, Humble Zone, shout out to Junaid again, Recur Post, High Level. These are preferred vendors for us. These are programs that we work with. So it's a way to incorporate these logos so that people know that there's a trust factor between them. Well, right now, one of the challenges that our users face with wanting to work with us is if that button gets clicked and it brings up the ability to log in, as you saw on that screen, it doesn't have anything to mention Power Launch, and that's what they went to sign up for. So we're going to have to optimize that to move to the next level. But even without those optimizations, we would still be in a really good place, because let's go back and look and see. If we end up with a 1.1% conversion rate and we spend the full $1,500, look what happens. We still end up with a 6-to-1 return? No, not 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. About 4, 5, somewhere in there. That's a really, really, really good thing, because then we can take some of that money, put it right back in here, and say, okay, now let's spend $3,000. Now we've got $16,000 in, and so now let's take some of that and spend again on ads. And let's just keep scaling, and our brand will start to skyrocket in the terms of being recognizable, people seeing the ads over and over. It's very important to get our advertising budget and our advertising plans into a position of scalability. And so it's all these little optimizations that we look at, and the obsession factor was saying, okay, what else can we do to optimize this? How else, what can we do to lower these numbers? But focusing on the numbers that are not hitting our predetermined metrics that we determine are the ones that we want to hit for success. And we don't want to scale past that, because what it does, it won't just bottleneck us on a time factor, it bottlenecks the algorithm too if we're trying to manipulate the advertising system. And that's what advertising managers do for Facebook and YouTube, is they try to convince you that you should try to get the highest number of conversions possible, and it's bullcrap. That's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the best type of ad out there, then let the algorithm do its thing, because the algorithm's going to outwork the Facebook ads in ways that that we can't possibly comprehend, that has to do with conversion and branding as a whole, as well as the ability to just target and find people based on AI. And AI is way better than that than humans are in most instances. So, all right, so back to it. The lead conversion rate. Let's just do one more check, and let's see if we got anybody who signed up. And then let's do ourselves another favor. Again, let's not. There's no need to panic. Hey, whoa! Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all. Let's see here. Let's go to users, baby. Maybe it's my team testing, right? Maybe it has nothing to do with any conversions. I just don't want to get my hopes up, guys. No, I don't think it does. Let's see here. I don't know what happened. Somehow, yes. Oh, well, that's good to know, though, because it's possible. I don't know. I'm going to pause it and look at it for a little bit. All right, dang. Stupid system. I got to get better too. Stupid me as well. But you can see, like, oh, man, it's going to be fun to have this hit. Like, you you don't know how excited I am about where we're headed with this. So, no, Jen did a test. Chief Relationship Officer at GetDesky as well. And that was still 30 minutes ago. So, the dashboard's definitely not in real time. But the notification emails and texts, I'm hoping will be. Devin, as well, has got to get that set up. And he's also something worth giving a great shout out for. Devin Scott, what a great leader, empowers people, and he's helping us on the system side. So let's go back. Oh, man, burst my little bubble. So now that we know that, okay, it's probably going to be a little bit lower than this. So we'll just move it right back to 1 even. And so what are some of the other variables on here that we haven't looked at? Again, we're going to skip these metrics based on, and here's why, guys. This is what we set up for our clients. Our clients, we set them up with a tripwire offer, a core offer, a little bit of an upsell offer in addition to that. Well, these would be two different types of tripwires. One's like an entry hot promo offer, and then we'll talk about that another time. You got to watch the videos if you want that. Or just call us. That's what you really should do. Is call and build the team that you know you can trust. So down here with the core offer, we don't need all of this because our system gives offer after offer after offer for free, kind of like Vistaprint, kind of like the big dogs do. And that's what I'm so excited about. We finally get to launch everything where people can just study and evaluate. And what that does is that'll also allow us to push people away that we're going to waste our time anyway. And I don't want to take $25 from people if they're not going to use what we do and they're not going to be excited to work with us, or $250 a month. I don't want to do that. I want people who are going to come in and be legitimate, great customers. They're not going to be a pain in my butt. I've got a zero chargeback history. I want to maintain that, yeah. Let's make sure people are really excited or happy, or realize that even if they fail at it and they're like, man, this sucked. I wanted to make more. I wanted to be a better entrepreneur. I still don't want them mad at me. I'd rather have the relationship intact. And once we win at a big level, we'll actually go back to some of those people and be like, hey, we saw what you were doing. We were excited for you. We would like to invest in you. Would you be open to that? All right. That's going to be so fun to reward entrepreneurs that way. And so get in right now, while that's a possibility and hot, go try this system. Just get your name in there and then go be a good person. We're looking for people who are loving, patient, persistent, be persistent, be consistent, show up on a regular basis, actually make a relationship, and then be reliable. That's the hard one. Right, because a doctor can show up consistently, but he can also not know what he's doing, and just be an awful doctor. So you have to be reliable as well. All of those factors go in. So again, down to some metrics. The show rate. What is that? What is that talking about? Well, when people either buy at these levels or they come through, there's also an opportunity. Let's go back to the page so y'all can see that. If people just want to book with us because they want to skip the noise and the habla, the hubris, right? I don't know what the word is, but they can click on book a support call. And if they click book a support call, it's going to take them to see that, oh wow, okay, here's that power launch thing that I remember learning about. and oh, interesting, this first class business, the academy, they might go and see, well, what's first class business? They might want to go check that brand out. And then Vision Pros podcast, right? They're like, okay, there's a lot going on here that we didn't anticipate. And then if they want to meet with us, they got their meeting times they can select. They can go through and put their information in and tell us about their objectives, and they can book their appointments, and they'll see clients and see more information about people that have worked with us. And okay, right, so that's all stuff that they might be munching on right now. And these frequently asked questions, same thing. Like, they can come in here and learn what this program is all about, how it works, and how, is it a course or is it not? These questions help people get centered. You guys are thinking of the questions more than me. I'm thinking of like showing you guys processes rather than worrying about details. So earlier today, we noticed it was in Colombian pesos. They'd accidentally made Colombian pesos on. Hey, look, shout out to the Cap Show people as well. They worked with us for a little while on their Facebook ad campaign, which absolutely crushed it. So not sure what happened with us, but still love you guys. Grateful for you. Let's go back to metrics. So people are going to be booking calls with us, and the call quality show ratio may be a little bit less than 70% because we aren't pre-qualifying the people who book the call at that point. So I wouldn't anticipate it to be this high. So let's go ahead and start moving that down and see how that affects. Well, they're not going to see any effect on the metrics because we've got it built towards $1,500 or $22 spent right now. But either way, let's do this first, okay? So if I move that, that will help us know. And then our close ratio. If for whatever reason we're not as good as I think we are about helping them move towards just naming a number that makes sense for them and that's comfortable, and that puts them a little bit outside their comfort zone. But what happens when you stretch a rubber band too far? It breaks. We don't want to do that to people. We want people to move towards a number that they're at least comfortable with, to honor us in the process of saying, hey, I'd like to work with you guys. I'd like to see how you can help with the process. And if they spend anything less than, like less than $2,000, then they know they can't expect us to do miracles for them. And they know that they can't anticipate this. Let's go look at it. What is Power Launch? It's a 45 to 180 day program, right, designed to help you generate at least $20,000 a month, $20,000 in new revenues. It can be monthly. It can be monthly recurring revenues. There's a lot of different ways that businesses are built. So it depends on the model that you have. We're not getting addicted to these numbers. We're just talking about how, like, this is our goal for the majority of people if they come in kind of goalless. But we're going to be adapting that and evaluating what is the goal of the person who's in front of us. What do you really want? Some people want the revenues. Others already have the revenues and they want the exposure. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Their goal is expanding the brands. So you have to know what type of results that you want, and this is one of those elements that will inspire people to say, I'd like to attend a call, I'd like to talk to them, and you know what, I do kind of want something like that. So that's going to help people move towards investing at a much higher level. It's probably going to take a couple days in some instances, a couple weeks, and others will be like, you know what, let's do it, I'm ready. It depends. Just like Todd at Laserway when he called video power marketing. He already knew, he'd already done his research, he's already a great entrepreneur, and so he comes in and he says, I just wanted to make sure you guys spoke English. Right? Yes, sir, how can I help you today? And he says, I heard a podcast that I listened to fairly religiously for business. They said Jake is the YouTube ad expert of the world. Shout out to Jake Larson, Video Power Marketing, videopower.com. Amazing. My favorite mentor as a father and as a friend in life. And he says, so I shouldn't do this, but take my money. That's all he said to me, right? And I was respectful on it. We talked. I gave him a discount code for his meeting. He had a 90-minute session scheduled with Jake after that point to be able to review what's going on. It's a $497 call. He's paid $247 for it. And then, bam, Jake closed the deal. His close ratio is higher than 85%. Why? Because one, people paid for that meeting. Two, people knew what they were getting into. And so we've set a system up that's very similar to that, with even less barriers to entry on the front end. And so now we're going to see how all that plays out. But we have to pay attention to our metrics in the beginning. I want to be a wise, responsible steward on this. And so now that I've got the show rate, I'm going to move it way down to 50% because people who are in the program are probably very likely to show up for their calls. People who are not yet in the program and book may be the type of people who, aren't taking it too seriously. And so that also puts us in a position to where they may be a little bit less invested in what's going on. And as you can see, we've lost $22. Well, we only spent $22, And so watch what happens now that we've adjusted those metrics a bit. And the application rate. This would be our teams calling these 45, well, we don't have conversions, not the clicks. Once people get in and convert, it would be our team calling and saying, hey, do you want to it's really about booking. It's about booking and filling out the form to book. They go hand in hand. Let's see here. So if we put this down to 25%, I really can't see it getting lower than that. Let's take a look at what this really means now that we've got new lower metrics in place. Okay, so in this case, see how I didn't get excited on that one? No, I'm not excited about a 2-to-1 return. I know we can do better than that, but if this is where we start, that's still a victory. That's okay. We will optimize. So let's watch how we optimize this process. So that means that we had 394,000 people see our brand for the first time with Stranger Danger. 3,000 of them clicked to see. And out of the 3,000 Stranger Dangers, we ended up with only 30 people who decided to sign up for free. And out of those 30 people, we're going to call every single one of them. And assuming that we get a hold of less than half of them, then we're going to assume that 7 of those want to talk to us at the next level. And if 7 of those want to talk to us at the next level, and the show rate is only 50%, and our close rate is 55%, that means that we're going to have 2 closes at around $2,000. And so if we have that, let's see here, give me a second. Okay, we got a little bit of a funky formula baked in here, but I see what's happening. These 2 numbers are working in conjunction with the, probably this one right here, yep, with the close ratio. And so in this scenario, we don't end up with a true 2 closes. We end up with 1. You can't have 1.5 closes, but what we could have is out of the people who we called, which we don't quite have baked into this metric, but let's just pretend that it is the 7, like it's that we reach 7 and talk to them. Well, my hope is that Jen, myself, Junaid, Sue, and Devin will close some smaller transactions. So in other words, if we have 1 person sign up for 2,000, and we had 1 person sign up for 1,000 without needing another meeting, and because that would be the second meeting, and we had 1 person sign up for $300, right? That would then represent this process. So you don't want to get baked into worrying about the granular nature. We again want to look at all those areas where I looked at optimizations and say, okay, how do we move this number? Because again, watch what happens. If we make optimizations to this, and instead of getting just 30 of the 3,000 clicks there, we move this number up just 1%. Now we had 60 and we've doubled the amount of revenue that we have, even though we've still got a pretty abysmal conversion rate on that site. But I have a very strong feeling we'll be able to make all the moves necessary to be able to move that up to at least a 5% conversion rate. I would be devastated if we can't, because we really want to get all these metrics up to 30%. The 30% metrics are industry standards. So we should be able to get there very fast. And again, so watch what happens. This is why we want to build this for you. This is why we want to build this for other entrepreneurs. Yeah, it took a lot of money and a lot of time to build this out, and mine's absolutely insane, but who wouldn't be happy with this right here, even just the scrappings of what it is I'm about to show you? So if we get the true industry standards on what we're doing, let's go and do that. 70,000 show, or 70% show rate. We're going to go up to 65% close. These are higher than industry standards. These are my benchmarks because I've never had lower than a show rate of 70%. I don't have a close rate of lower than 65% on pretty measly products. This is a measly product. This is an amazing offer. And so if we can move this up too, we got to be able to get this up. So we get this up to 1%. We get the lead conversion rate up to 30% where it should be. Yeah, look at that gross return skyrocket. We get this up to 30%. We get this one up to 30%. And now we've got $400,000, almost $401,000 gross return on $1,500 spent, with only 394,000 people coming through, and a click-through rate of 1%, right? We get that click-through rate up to 3%, which is where I want it to be. My goodness, my friends, right? This is, I totally forgot the application process. 60%. That's crazy. And we're not too far off from being able to get to these metrics. And the nice thing is we'll be able to reinvest. So I'm going to move some of that back again. Let's go all the way back to where it goes back to almost abysmal mode. Nope, not quite. Not quite. Not quite. There we go. Back to abysmal mode. Right, here we are. And go back to that even still at this rate, right? 3,300. I don't want to do that to my team though. My team needs some raises. And so I'm gonna say no. We have to get a little bit more. We get a little bit more in like that. Still, I got to get a little bit more into that for my team's sake, in order for us to, let's say that we get the 1%. Okay. Still pretty much all accounted for. We have to be on a shoestring, or have to get another investor to come in and throw down with us. We got to be responsible for our funding. Show rate, again, I think that'll probably stay at the 50% level. But it's this lead conversion rate that I think is going to be the biggest one, where we're going to be able to make the impact. And so if we do that, this is the mark, right? We get to 15,000. Now I've got 3,000 of wiggle room, because I know that my team's taken care of. And what am I going to do with that wiggle room? Reinvest it right away, right? I'm going to go right back towards the investment. Look at that. Now we don't have 3,000 in wiggle room. Now we have a lot more in wiggle room. I'm going to put some bonuses out there for some of the team members. We're going to upgrade some of our equipment. We're going to put some money into hiring a few more people in order to help us on processes. But all this is 16 closes. That's it. Not a lot of people that we have to sustain, and not at investment levels that are nuts. If we have investment levels that are nuts, where we're having, and I say nuts, not like for you guys, talking about people who are willing to invest $20,000 to $150,000 in their next campaign, right? We move towards, but we've moved towards that even just a little bit. And yes, I'm going to throw a lot more back into advertising. We're going to keep scaling this, because don't ever shut the valve off. But we might close less on purpose. But what we're not closing the doors to is the people who are beginning to know us, like us, and trust us. Alex Hormozi talks about this in $100 million offer. And so what we want is we want these 1.5 million people stepping over each other, trying to barge down our door. We want in. We want to be the next client. And they're going to have a bunch of people in here. I'm sick of your system. I want you to fix this. It's got a reload issue, blah, blah, blah. Right? And they're going to generate noise. They're going to say, I hate first class business. They say first class, they're first trash business. First trash business all day long. And I've learned to let go of things like that. I've learned to be like, you know what? It's okay. If people are mad, that's a sign that they have hope. That's a sign that they want a change. That's a sign they want to see us do things better. And guys, I'm just one man. I'm not able to do it all. And so if we happen to have this level of success rate coming our way, then we have to always be very careful, though, to not leave the market hopeless. And that's exactly what we're doing. So if the market comes in and we've got 119 people that are applying, and no, there's more that are applying. This is the number after we consider who doesn't like show up, and all that. But that's still 119 people who are like really excited to potentially work with us. And if we've got 32 closes, that means we had more than like 60 meetings. And if we've had that, I wish I had that metric on there. And we say, like, and my team's telling them, like, you can't talk to Jackson, you can't talk to Jen. You can't talk to Devin. Like, we're booked solid, and we've got, we just had clients sign for 60,000, and we want to respect them and make sure we deliver well. The only way we can do this is by expanding our team. The only way we can do that is if you like really throw down and you invest a lot more. Well, we can't take the risk on right now. We don't want to risk your business. We don't risk ours. So money talks, though. How much are you able and willing to invest, because you're one of 32 people that we're talking to right now? And so I'm going to take the number from you, and I'm going to talk to my team about who else is there, because I don't get to make this call. It's a team effort, it's a collaborative effort. So name your top marketing operations budget that you're going to be happy to work with us on, and be ready to work with us for an entire year. If you can't do that, then you got to get your own Power Launch team. You can use our system, our materials, but you got to use your own team. We're not going to do any consulting with you either. Right? We don't have the capacity. We will let you know when we have it. But if you want to secure your spot, then get creative on how you're going to pay us, and let's make it happen. Right? So then supply and demand is absolutely in our favor at all time. We get to pick a litter on everything that we want to do. So if we had that type of revenue coming in, once again, we're putting 10,000 back into it, but we're also putting time and effort into increasing all of these. So now we're moving towards that lead conversion rate that I want, and I'm probably kicking myself going like, I should have thought about that, and oh my gosh, if we just done that, it would have been awesome. And we're moving the revenue, and now we got 365,000. What do we do with that? Guys, we keep scaling this, right? And we become the absolute industry experts, the absolute industry dominating force that we know we are, and that we've been building behind the scenes to be able to do for a long time. Whether it was building campaigns for Dr. Eric Berg and helping him realize what he needed to change, or calling out Lewis Howes by talking to his assistant Brittany and saying he has to change this ad or it's going to ruin his reputation. And it wasn't something he did negative or in anything to do with integrity. It had to do with understanding the subtleties of the market and how that works. And look at where Lewis Howes is at today. Look at where Dr. Eric Berg is at these days. Look at where Michael Hyatt is at, T. Harv Eker. Now, some of these people like Michael Hyatt and T. Harv Eker, they're already up there. So was Lewis Howes. Dr. Eric Berg was at 160,000 subscribers, and his website was awful. You can go back and look at that and the Wayback Machine. But these are the types of campaigns and people that I got to work with. JW Marriott, Key Island Golf Resort, Uchi Restaurants, the Melting Pot, the Rodizio Grill, fastest growing Brazilian steakhouse at the time. I don't know what COVID did all that. But these are all brands that we've had the opportunity to really help behind the scenes. And all of it gave us so much knowledge about how to build things. And so, again, click-through rate 1%. Guys, that's so low. I forgot about that. If that click-through rate goes up to 2%, that doubles the amount that we earn. That one tiny percentage point. Right? It is so cool. And the application point, the application point is going to be so much higher than that. Oh my gosh, watch what happens. 2,000 in returns already. 2 million. Now 6 million on that. That's crazy. And we're not going to be able to bring that to fruition. So let me pause you on that too. Right now, we're in a position as a company where we can bring on two $150,000 clients. That's it. If I get $250,000 clients, we're going to stagnate our revenue growth at that 300,000. We're going to be super, super responsible to make sure we deliver for those two and the rest of our clients. And every 2 weeks, my executive team and I will meet together and think through and say, okay, do we want to open the doors for one more or do we not? No, systems are out of control. We need a vacation. Jackson, go do your thing for like a week somewhere and then have an awesome summer with your kiddos. You got 2 weeks coming up on that. I'm always going to be in work. I love what I do. But to be able to have that balance, to be able to have the control and the freedom on that, I can cry right now thinking about that. I've got things that I want to do and things that I need to do. To be able to invest in our documentary is not about the money right now. It's about the time. It's about the recruiting process of bringing great people in. When we have the next $150,000 available at our disposal, oh my goodness. The amount of people that we will be able to bring on to help with projects and to help move forward all of the little brands and entities that we have under our belt, it's going to be insane. That's going to be huge. My payroll right now, my team, all of us, everybody, our overhead is just over $30,000 per month for everything. All the systems, the overhead, everything. Why? One, all of us are frugal. We're all very wise with how we live, and we're not asking for a whole lot. Two, my workforce is economy of scale. Down in Central South America, the minimum wage down there, just look it up. Ask ChatGPT, it's going to break your heart. Ask what minimum wage is in Colombia. Then ask what minimum wage is in Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic. We haven't even tapped into those markets officially. I don't really want to hire people based on minimum wage. Not long term. I want to start them there because there's something valuable about humility. But what's cool is we see these people take these steps. We see them step into love and patience and persistence and consistency and reliability. We reward them immediately on that. We move them from minimum wage to a 50% wage increase. Right? Then, based on how they're doing, we let them know we'd love to do a 100% wage increase on that. Right? Be true to yourself. Be true to the team. Be great people. Come in ready to learn. Come in ready to value everything that we're putting in here. Make it feel like our birthday every day. Right? That's the key. That's really the key. We want to love who we're working with. We want to love what is it we're doing. We want to focus on the impact that we're driving. And so we get the ability to do that. And and then as we build that workforce out, right? We build that workforce out. We bring in a couple more executives, right? Where we consider, do we pay them a salary at this point? A pretty good one. Benefits package, 401k, all that stuff. I don't know how that works, but we will bring the right person in who does. And do we do equity, or revenue share as part of the process? It doesn't matter. What does matter, we need that person to be locked in and centered on being able to be loving, patient, persistent, consistent, and reliable. And we want to put them on a training ground to where they can get to understand all the things, right? We want them to explore our campus. We want them to know every building on campus. It's all virtual, right? We want them to go through every training. We want them to realize that I don't care how executive you are. I don't care if you work at Google. You're going to learn things here at this company that you can't even imagine from an emotional intelligence standpoint, from a delivery standpoint. One of my reps, one of the people who does work with us, she did work at Google. And you know what she said after like 4 weeks of working with us? She's like, Jackson, oh my gosh. She's like, I never thought I would find a company like Google again. I didn't know it was going to be. I never knew I would get to find one that actually lives by. And I never knew it was possible online. I didn't think it was. I thought you had to be in office, but you guys have built that. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, are you for real? Like, that's like a lifelong dream of mine. I've never worked at Google, but I always wanted to. I always thought it looked like a really cool culture. I wanted to design things that look and feel like it, and I was so excited. I was like, oh my. And then now she's telling me, like, she worked there, and she'd rather work here now. She'd rather work here. Like, that's my company. We did this. We made this happen. And we have a long way to go. We got to make sure to be careful with our culture. We can't bring executives in who are going to destroy that. We got to bring executives in who are going to honor that. We got to bring investors in who are going to honor that, too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we want to raise $10.6 million. Absolutely. I haven't told anybody that. I've told a few people, but not ready to do it yet. Why? Because investors, they're going to try to eat me alive. They're sharks. They can be a little shark tank, right? And I'll watch the sharks and I'll wave once in a while, right? But no, I don't want to work with a shark. I don't want to work with a dolphin. I don't want to work with a whale. I want to work with a human. I want to work with somebody who realizes, like, whoa, we're on the brink. But what they're going to want to see in order to be truly fair, because I'm not going to get engaged with them. They're going to try to, like I said, they're going to try to negotiate in ways that are subtle and unfair and just to pull us along. Nope. Supply and demand has to be absolutely in our favor, which it's about to be. In addition to that, we're going to have 6 months cash reserve, and we'll have our 6 months track record. We'll file for our valuation, which will be completely bull crap. It's all BS. Like, banks know how to evaluate the value of things. Otherwise, banks wouldn't go out of business. And wouldn't get in trouble with the government and stuff. No, they know how to evaluate things based on their own selfish interests and the interests of those who are their consumers. It's not how Mark Zuckerberg did it. It's not how TikTok did it. Nope, not at all. And so I'm not interested in debating that online with anybody who hasn't been there. I'm not interested in leading that debate because I haven't been there, but I've watched it. I've watched it enough times to know that nope, Chris Voss is right and never split the difference. If you want to win the negotiation, you have to be the one who has nothing to lose. And so when I'm in a position where I have nothing to lose, that will be the point where we talk to major investors. What we are looking for, what I'm very interested in, is who wants to come in that I can absolutely trust as a friend that would be interested in something called a promissory note. And a promissory note works very much like a credit card, except for in paying a credit card company, I would pay you. But to have cash flow up front, to have investment capital be able to put in this, I don't care if that investment capital comes from somebody who's an employee. I see a lot of employees spend their money on stupid things. I saw employees stack money up in a savings account, not know what to do with it. They put in a cryptocurrency. I get that. Well, what's the return that you've averaged over the last year or two? Give me the average. Let's add 5 percentage points onto that. Pay us. So let's sign that promissory note. Put the return period, we want to put it out 6 months to 12 months at least. There's no point in having your cash. We have to give it back right away. And I'm not looking for a Quickens Loans thing, or I don't know what they're called, but like the fast cash places or whatever. We don't need that. But we do have an opportunity to have investors come in, help us with this process, so that we can expand the supply and demand factor faster. The sooner the scales tip into our favor, where our phones are ringing off the hook, where we are continually, and we are, by the way, booked like crazy. We didn't talk about Vision Pros Live. Vision Pros Live is booked all the way through September, I believe. So if we go over there, we got a phenomenal podcast with incredible presence. Our guests are absolutely floored. Some of them are too arrogant to admit it when they see that our show comes out right away. But this guy, he's amazing. Ryan's now a new client. He came on, did an awesome show, loved the experience, was super humble and awesome and confident about what he's up to. And he I said, so Jackson, when's the show come out? And I said, Ryan, go ahead and go to visionproslive.com. And like, okay. And he's like, what? How? Literally, as we're ending the show, this, not only is that done, and then I'm like, yeah, let's go look at the page and make sure there's no typos on it. And he's like, that is amazing. This whole thing was ready to go, with the exception of the resources, which we do get a little bit behind on now, but all ready to go. But if somebody else comes in and wants to be a guest on our show, let's go ahead and take a look. Fletcher Ellingson of the practice of oh my gosh, how did I do that? Fletcher, don't be mad at me. The practice of feeling good. I was going to say doing good. The practice of feeling good, right? Being good. Fletcher, you get to call me out and roast me at some point. But that gets them here. They go to book their call. Again, he's going to start taking some interviews soon, and on July 5th, I believe he starts. That's going to help open up our calendar a little bit more, and I think we already got him integrated. But check it out. We're coming here to see what's available. Hey, look at that. We have one slot probably available. Yep, this week. So grab it if you want it, because that's going to be gone soon. And let's go to July. What's July? Nope, nothing in July. We're already booked for it. And that's between me, Sue Anderson. Harry just finished the show process. We love him. We're grateful for you, Harry. Love you, dude. And Javanka. We're all the current active co-hosts of the show. Nothing in August available. Let's see about September. There was available in September last week. Nope. Now we got to go to October. And how's our October slots look? Okay. So in October, we probably have like a few per day in October. Yep. And then if you want to get to like more full availability, then I think going into November and December, we got to be careful. We got to start blocking off our holidays, because I don't like to cancel on people. But who knows? We may have other junior host reps by that time who can take those show slots. So there's people all over the world. My Pakistani team, for instance. Wow, December's booked. Is that true? Let's see here. I'm curious. Yeah, no, I don't think we offer it that far in advance. I think that's what's going on. And yeah, people get frustrated by it. They're like, oh my gosh, you're not available. Like, what am I supposed to? And like, if they get frustrated, one, they don't need to work with us. They don't understand how high demand works. And did my video stop? That would be really unfortunate. I don't know if it stopped recording or not. I've been going for a while, but guys, I want to pour all this love into you, because I don't see very many brands out there doing that. Nick Therio, big shout out to him. I don't know him, but he does it. Pat Flynn did his very best always to be the crash test dummy to help people see how to win in business, and he's really the one who inspired me to be this way. Inspired me to really test things for myself and make sure I know what I'm doing before I test it in an environment where other people are going to benefit and use it. I don't want people to lose. I want them to win. And so I hope you get that out of this, and I hope that you consider working with us, because we'd love to work with people who love to honor processes like ours. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, comments, please drop them in the section below. And like I said, if you are considering a promissory note, even if you have the idea of like, hey, don't distract me. If you offer a promissory note, of less than $2,000, then don't even bother talking to me about it. You just have to be ready to sign and send me the agreement yourself. You can ask ChatGPT for it. You can dive into our program, Power Launch, move forward to like phase 3, I think it is. Find the Raising Capital 101, and in there you'll find a promissory note. You can fill that information out to me. If you want to be the one who invests, great. But if you're talking about, and I should say anything less than 5,000, if you're looking to do a promissory note with us of 5,000 or more, then you need to book a call with us and talk to us about it, because there's no shame in recognizing that your business isn't going super well, but you may have the cash flow to invest in a business like ours. There's no shame in that. I have gotten my butt kicked over the last decade and a half trying to build businesses out, and I've got all the battle scars to show for it. Not scars that I wanted, but I am where I am, and I got to where I got to by paying my dues and fighting the good fight. So if you want to maybe have less of a fight and you want to follow my trail that I've pathed, as Russell Brunson talks about it, I've got all the arrows in my back as the pioneer who decided to trek it, but I've also paved the path so you guys have a road to go down with me. Then let's do it, my friends, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care, everybody.